Alright, I think we're all set. Hey, you guys, welcome back. This is Luke, aka Kayaris. I, uh, welcome to PTR. This is what is expected to be coming in Drop 4, which I'm very excited about, by the way. And we're going to be talking about in this video about some healing changes, some cool shit. Not really going to dilly dab too much. I'm just going to get right into the meat and potatoes. Not even going to talk about stat priorities because I've already covered these in previous videos, and they're kind of monotonous for most people. So I'm going to jump right into the abilities, but first off, check this frickin' costume out. Come on, yeah, that's pretty badass. Very excited about that. Okay, um, looks pretty cool. Although I kind of look like an alien. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. So I'm gonna chomp out a couple limited action set builds. The amps, for the most part, is gonna stay the same. They are gonna stay the same, regardless, across the board for me. Again, this keep in mind this is my opinion, um, uh, based off of what I've tested so far in my limited time. But some pretty exciting changes. Anyway, I'm going to shut up and move on. Well, not really shut up, but you know what I mean. Alright, so the first build is going to be basically what I would be using standardly across the board. Whether if I was a tank healer or if I was a more what I do now in raids, raid healing. Alright, first ability, Bolster. It's a hot, essentially, heal over time. I get 2 charges. One of the benefits of this ability now, compared to live, is the tier 4. The tier 4 basically means when I use my charges up, 12 seconds later, I get them back. So what does this mean? This means basically that we have better access to psi point generation, which means we can get some more big heals off quicker. So that's that ability. Next one is Reverie. Nothing has changed with this ability. It is the same as it is on live. So I took the tier 4 as opposed to the tier 8 simply because there are so many good healing tier 4s, as you'll see down the list, that basically, the 10% incoming healing is not as big a deal as it used to be. So, I took tier 4 Reverie and tier 4 Bolster so far. Next is Phantasmal Armor. Basically, you target a target and... Oh yeah, they get gold. It's a absorbed shield. The advantage of the tier 4 is that the target that gets the shield has their magic resist buffed by 15%. So, and also it adds a interrupt armor. Just FYI. I used to run, currently on live, I run this base. And that was due to the fact that the tier 4 only reduced the cooldown. Whereas this tier 4 actually gives a buff. It gives me a reason to throw it on a target, like the tank, for example, who's highly reliant on resistances. So just keep that in mind. That's why I took it. Next ability is Soothe. It's your main builder, so to speak, of side points, other than Bolster at this point. And basically, there's not much to say about it. It's no different than, as far as the tiers, the tier 4 and the tier 8 are no different than at live. So, there's nothing really much to talk about other than it's a good spammable, cheap heal. Hits you in 4 targets, so it's a good ability. Much more preferred over Mind Over Body. Mind Over Body is crap. There's just no other way to say it. It is absolute crap. When you factor in how much focus costs Mind Over Body takes, and for healing one target, as opposed to how much focus Soothe takes for healing 5 targets, it's you don't have to be a mathematician to figure that out. Soothe is better. And I took the tier 4 to reduce the charge cooldown just like I did in live. Now, the reason I did not go tier 8 is the same reason why I did not go tier 8 for the Reverie. And that being that there are so many good tier 4 healing abilities right now to choose from, as you will see. So, and honestly, the hot that the tier 8 gives, tier 8 Soothe that is mainly what I've noticed is that it's a lot of overhealing. It's not very useful. So my points can be used elsewhere. Next ability is Pyrokinetic Flame. Now this on live caught a lot of debate among healers. And some didn't like it, most didn't like it actually, but the reasons they did not like it were simply because you have to throw it on the target, right? Well, when it hits the target, it makes a radius circular telegraph around the target. But if the target was huge, like say for example X89, it doesn't really give a benefit to the people standing in it. And the buff or the benefit I'm talking about is the tier 4. It increases assault and support power by 6% for 4 seconds. Now the cool thing about this ability is it lasts for 6 seconds. So every time it heals a target that is standing in that telegraph, they receive that buff. So it refreshes that buff over and over and over again. So it is possible with, and now I really should be talking about this when I talk about the amps, but it's possible to have 100% uptime of this ability. Now, those are the sort of the negative and the positive about the ability. Let's talk about the changes. The changes to it is basically that they buffed the damage it does, one, and it increased the assault and support power benefit or buff it gives your allies for standing in that telegraph by 1%. So it's hard to see it without actually using it. However, I'm hesitant to do that right now since my stream is going good right now without any lag. So I'm just gonna have to take my word for it or get on PTR and test it. It's definitely better damage than it is on live. That's all I can tell you. So that's in my slot as far as healing abilities. That covers my first build. You still want to take the next ability I want to talk about in utility. These two right here, Incapacitate and Projected Spirit, you could swap those around. If you prefer Crush, then by all means jump on it. Our other abilities there in place of Projected Spirit. But Fixation, okay? Fixation, a while back, I don't recall who brought it up first, but a lot of people were against Fixation, including myself, for a long time, basically because they didn't understand what the ability did, or how it could be useful. But I am here to tell you that that is a hugely impactful ability. In talking with other healers, healing classes specifically, there's very few that will tell you that they have an ability that gives them focus when they use it. Not only that, but that same ability reduces cooldowns. It generates side points, our main resource. Our only resource, really, other than focus as a healer. But very few of them will tell you that they have an ability available to them. Most of them will tell you that they run out of focus before, you know. Anyway, I'm moving on. I kind of lost track there. But basically, fixation, it reduces all your cooldowns by 60% and generates 3 side points. The generate 3 side points is an important thing to remind yourself as a Esper healer, because you can pop this, you can pop 2 bolster charges, and get an instant reverie off. Okay? Um, and if you're really good at the class, you can get multiple burst healing reveries out in a raid and just impress everyone. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, that basically covers the abilities. I'm going to talk about the amps, and then I'm going to move to my next LAS setup for the abilities, and I won't talk about the amps again after this point. That's simply to make the video shorter for everyone watching. Alright, so not much has changed with the amps. A couple things to make you aware of. Not snack worthy. I can't talk. Basically, when you activate your innate spectral form, you increase your assault and support power by 10% for 5 seconds. May not seem like much, but it's a definite healing increase. Okay. So I took that. On live, I have also taken tactician as I do here. Sorry about that. And the reason for this is because you do have opportunities where you make usefulness of the Bastion, which is increases your outgoing healing for 4 seconds. Now, granted, you do have to stand still 2.5 seconds, and a lot of people have problems with this, and I would kind of be in agreement of them. But it's better to have it, right, than to not have it. And so that's what I'm looking at with most of my amps, because for the most part, nothing has changed in our support tree. Nothing at all, really. I believe build-up's a little stronger in Drop 4 than it is on currently live. So that's a plus. But anyway, before I jump over there, tactician is a increase. Plain out. There's no other argument you can make to me that says it's not. Because you do have opportunities as an Esper to stand still and heal. Now DPS, another ballgame, whole another amp. Not even going to go there. So I'm strictly talking about healing here. So I take tactician. I take all of the crit hit and crit hit severity. One change from live that I did take on the BTR is I took Mirage. As you'll see later when I talk about other build setups, limited action sets, you will see that in one of them. And I'll talk a little bit more about that ability when I get there. But I take it simply because I need to have it, right? So that in the opportunity that I need to use it, it's available, basically. Okay. So moving on, the only other change was I added armor pierce. And some of you might be like, what the fuck is this guy doing? You're a healer. Why do you want armor pierce? Well, that is because we do have an ability, pyrokinetic flame, that will be affected by armor pierce. Okay? So, and really and truly, these 3 points could go into shield capacity. It could go into more focus region, I suppose. But basically, I got my meat and potatoes build down in my amps, and I had 4 amp points available to me to use, and I really didn't see any of the tier 2s when I went around here that were worth taking. Focus mastery still sucks. It just does. I mean, all you have to do is look at the amp and you say that sucks, because it does. Refund, The only finisher that you have is actually a healing finisher, so you don't have to worry about it being deflected. Um, so that's not an amp I would take. No pain, no gain. Taking damage. I'm of the opinion that that low of a chance of you getting a side point is not worth it. Some people might think so. Uh, so basically, what I'm trying to say is the last 4 points of my amps that I had available to me, I was having difficulty plugging them somewhere. So I plugged them in where I thought I would be the most useful. And in raids, if you can offer something other than simply healing, I don't see the problem with putting amps into armor pierce. That's my argument. So, may not agree with it, so be it. But like I said, nothing else has changed. I guess I can talk about these real quick. Defensive maneuvers every time you dash, you gain damage mitigation by 6% for 5 seconds. So, more than likely you dash a lot as a healer, getting out of things that you can't simply just sprint out of. So, you can make usefulness of that damage mitigation. So, mental overflow, basically, I know a lot of people hate this ability, but I'm going to be straight up with you. It has saved my raid more than once, more than probably 5 times that I can at least think of just last night. So it is worth taking. You do have to be careful about how far over you go on your maximum side point stacks, which is 5. Because after 3, you're just wasting side points, which doesn't seem to be much of an issue with healers. Damage is a little more different animal. Again, I'm not going to talk about that too much, but I take it just to get my fixation. Okay, that is the amps in a nutshell, guys. Let me see if I can switch over to another build. Again, this is a general tank sort of raid, master of all trades kind of build. I suppose I can talk a little bit about a tank build. There's 2 variations, basically, that I came up with. One being Mirage. And I'm going to talk about Mirage for a second, because I was really super stoked about this ability for a long time. And I kind of still am. What has happened with this ability is basically they have nerfed the amount it heals, reduced the cast time, not sure about the focus cost, but changed the way the tiers worked as well. As you can see, the tier 4 basically caters to the class that picks it up. So, if I threw it out there, it's a ground targeted. I should say that it's a ground targeted heal. You click on the ability, you place it, and you cast it, and it lands there. Well, if an engineer was to run over, say for example, and get that heal, he would get 25 volatility. Esper 2 side points, medic 1 actuator. So you get the idea. Basically, it restores a class resource, class specific resource. So I got kind of excited about that. And then I looked at the tier 8 and I was like, wow, there's another hot. And man, it looks like it heals for a lot. And it does. However, unfortunately, as the same case I was talking about with Soothe and it's hot, most times it ends up being overheal. And that has been the case on PTR so far for me in the few dungeons I've healed. So don't really think if I did take it that, like I stated here, that I'd take the tier 8. I would definitely consider the tier 4. It helps stalkers out a lot, from what I understand at this point, who are starved on suit power. It helps them out a lot. So I have considered taking it, and I have, plugged it into a build when I see it fit. A good raid, boss that I would run it on is Phaedra. Just, without talking too much about it. Basically, it heals for a lot. Um, it can be placed on the ground, and so you can kind of lead the engineer tank who's tanking Phage Maul while he's trying to, fan out those three-line telegraphs. Some of you might not know what I'm talking about, but if you ever watched the video for a Phage Maul video, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. You can actually cast those in front of the where the engineer's heading, and as he gets hit, well, he can just roll into the mirage and get healed. So that's the reason I want to take it, or at least have a build available for it. But that's the only change with this build. I guess I'll talk about the next one real quick. The next one is Warden. Now, Warden used to be pretty mana intensive, focus intensive, and take a lot of focus to cast, and it still does. However, they've changed a couple of the, not really changed the tier 4, but they've buffed something in this. I don't see anything in my notes about it, but basically I did the math, and it looks pretty good on paper. The tier 4 does. Okay, so basically what happens is you cast the ability. Let's see if I can get a visual of it. And bam, a tree pops up, It's like, yeah, a tree, awesome, wonderful, hug the trees. Yeah, I'm not an orc. Anyway, that was an inside joke. But basically, anyone who's standing in the field of that tree, receives a hot. There's an initial big burst heal when it lands on the target that you cast it on, but then after that, it ticks. And the people who stand in this ability get, the tooltip's actually wrong on this ability, but they get increased physical and magical resistance based off the amount of physical and magical resistance they have. I know that's a little hard to understand, but basically, for me, you take the physical resistance, since all mine are the same, you just take that physical percent, right, and multiply it by 0.12%, and that is how much it will increase that particular resistance, if that makes sense. So what I kind of came up with, me and a buddy of mine, thank you OJ, by the way, was that this would be a good tank ability. It would be similar to running Pyrokinetic Flame, but that it would give mitigation to everyone in it. Not only counting the heal that it gives as well. So, you can see where this is going, that it would be actually a pretty damn good ability, So, anyway, that basically covers what I kind of wanted to talk about with healing. I'm more or less doing this simply to, for shits and giggles, but I like this kind of stuff, so that was more or less the reason I was wanting to do it. I'm very excited about Drop 4 changes. It's no longer, it has, like it's been in the past with most Esper healers, where you max tier your bolster, you max tier your reverie, and anything else you have, you just kind of throw whatever, So, I like it. I like the changes coming up. Very excited. Yeah, so that's basically it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit a like. If you're a God damn it. Basically, if you're a YouTube user, and you like seeing these type videos, I don't put them out often anymore. But if you like what you saw and you want to be alerted when a new video comes out, please subscribe. If you don't, well, that's fine too. But I'm glad you checked in. For all you Twitch users, thank you for stopping in for the stream. Again, same thing I said to the YouTube users. If you want to, be alerted of when I go live on my streams, even though they're somewhat low in quality, nothing I can do about that with low upload speeds. But then please, by all means, follow me as well. So you'll be alerted of when new videos come out. That's about all I got, folks. Again, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Peace out.